Man wearing heavy metallic necklace dies after being sucked into MRI machine. Dumb ways to die. A 61-year-old man has died after he was sucked into a magnetic resonance imaging machine at a medical centre while he was wearing a heavy metal necklace. Now you're thinking, oh no, was that terrible? Was he wearing like a gold or a silver chain, but it was, a bit of a heavy one because he was a bit of a G or something like that? No. Wait for it. Wait for it. The man entered a room at Nassau Open MRI in Westbury on New York's Long Island without permission as the MRI machine was running, Nassau County Police Department said. Now, the very, very famous thing about MRI machines is they are giant, hyper strong magnets. Right, you are not allowed any metal in or on your body in any way. You remove all piercings if you have metal fillings or metal crowns or stuff like that. I've got a bunch of metal teeth because fights. but basically, you have to get all that shit. It depends on the metal, though. There's some metal crowns that don't trigger magnetism, right? I still wouldn't go in. I would get them removed, right? No, don't worry. You'll be fine. But what if I'm not? But basically, very famously, no metal, nothing like that at all. Can't go near the fucking machine. Right, they even like use pencils and everything near the rim because you're just not allowed metal anywhere near that machine. And then this fucking genius decides to go in with a great big metal chain around his neck. Now, when I say great big metal chain, wait for it. I hope the article mentions it. His wife told local media that she had called him into the MRI room after her scan, and his chain necklace caused him to be hurled towards the machine when he walked in. So basically, this guy went lurching forward at 200 miles an hour with this chain around his neck. I mean, what the hell? Why wouldn't the chain, even if it's a pretty big gold chain, like if it's pushing against like me, I'm about like about 95 kilograms, I think. I actually haven't weighed myself in quite a while. I'll need to don't quote me on that. Basically, you would go, oh, the chain would just like snap. You would get a bit of a sore one, but the chain would snap, wouldn't it? Wait for it. Officials say the incident resulted in a medical episode, which is putting it rather mildly, and the man was later pronounced dead. MRI machines use a strong magnetic field to produce detailed images. Patients are typically asked to remove metal items and change out of their clothes before undergoing MRI scans or going near the machine, because even if you've got like a little metal button in your jeans, that thing is going to get ripped out at like 200 miles an hour because of the strength of this magnet. Basically, there is a very high chance of people coming to harm if you do not remove all metal, which is why they give you like a full inspection. Why this guy was even allowed in the building with what he had around his neck, because please talk about it in the article. Patients are typically asked to remove metal items. I've just read that. The male victim was wearing a large metallic chain around his neck, causing him to be drawn into the machine, which resulted in a medical episode, said Nassau County Police Department, which is investigating the incident. Though police have not named the victim, Adrian Jones McAllister told local television station News 12 Long Island that it was her husband Keith who died. He waved goodbye to me and then his whole body went limp, she said. Miss Jones McAllister said she was getting a... Come on. Miss Jones McAllister said she was getting an MRI scan on her knee and asked her husband to come in to help her get up afterwards. She said... Here it is. He was wearing a 20 pounds, 9 kilogram chain with a lock that he used for weight training. He was wearing an actual like chain that you would see on a fucking ship with a big padlock in it around his neck. And right, I'm sorry, if I run an MRI business, you're not getting into the building with that thing around your neck. Right, I'll be out in the car park going, leave that in the fucking car. You are not coming into this building with that at all. You are definitely not going anywhere near the MRI machine. And basically, anyone who's worked with the MRI machine should have saw him standing there and went, hey, hey, big guy, I realise, whenever you can, like that's how you get fit. Wherever you are and wherever you can. However, not now. Not with a 20 pounds giant fucking chain that you would see on a ship hanging around your fucking neck. Right? Basically, someone should have said something. I have no training on MRI. I have had to get an MRI before. I take ocular migraines, and they wanted to make sure I didn't have a tumour or something like that. And I had to go in, get my big scan, and they says, oh, there's no tumour and everything, so that's all good. And I'm like, oh, cool, how do I stop the migraines? And they went, I don't know. Bye. Fucking love the NHS. But anyway, I don't work in MRI machines. However, if I was in the rating room, I would have said, take that off now. Take that off immediately, mate. Because the famous things about MRI machines is you can't take metal near them. And that is a lot of fucking metal, like a cartoonish amount of fucking metal. Just the utter stupidity. The utter stupidity of this. At that instant, the machine switched him around, pulled him in, and he hit the MRI, she said. Miss Jones-McAllister said the visit on 16 July was not her and her husband's first time at the MRI facility. It was also not the first time that the employee had seen her husband's weight that he used for training, she said. Fire that employee. Fire that employee immediately. Like, anyone should be like, no. No, you are not bringing that anywhere near the machine. You are not going anywhere near the machine with that thing. You're not allowed in the building with that around your fucking neck. That was dumb. Everyone involved in this situation is fucking dumb. She claimed an employee and her husband previously had a conversation about it before. Oh, that's a big chain. If your employee say, oh, that's a big chain, get it the fuck out the building. No metal near the machine, no ifs, no buts, no coconuts. Get the fuck out the building with that around your neck. Miss Jones-McAllister said the technician tried to pull her husband away from the machine, because the problem is even after you switch the machine off, it's still very heavily magnetised. I'm saying, could you turn off the machine? She said, call 911, do something, turn this damn thing off. The BBC has contacted Nassau Open MRI for comment, where they're not going to give one because the lawyers will be advising them not to. According to the US Food and Drug Administration, MRI machines have magnetic fields that will attract magnetic objects of all sizes, keys, mobile phones, and even oxygen tanks, which may cause damage to the scanner or injury to the patient or medical professionals if those objects become projectiles, which is why they do a million different checks before you're allowed anywhere near the machine, and it's why everyone's like through a fucking blast shield and everything before you go in. In 2001, a 6-year-old boy died of a fractured skull at a New York medical center while undergoing an MRI exam after its powerful magnetic force propelled an oxygen tank across the room. That's fucking horrible. That's absolutely terrible. Basically, there should be a checklist of things that you fucking do before you go in. Why not just have a metal detector down the hall, and it basically says, if you beep, you are not fucking going past this point. I think that should be the case. But there's another incident that's rather famous, and I think people are going to be pissed off in the comments if I don't mention it. This got posted on Twitter. The butt plug incident. Where basically, anybody remember the original Jackass movie, that stunt that Ryan Dunn did, where he stuffed a toy car up his backside, and then he had to go in and get like an x-ray and stuff like that, and he's like, oh, just my arse is sore, I just want a little x-ray, you know, and he got an x-ray, and they seen a toy car up there, and they filmed the whole thing, and it was just kind of funny. Right, basically this guy tried to do the same thing, but with a butt plug. He was getting an MRI done, he went in with a butt plug up, because apparently everybody around you has to be party to your fucking fetishes, you absolute degenerate, but it backfired. I didn't even mean that. It backfired because the butt plug was not just made of silicone. It had, or whatever, I think, is it silicone? It's silicone they're made of or something. Just some weird plasticky rubbery bullshit, right? But it had a steel ball inside it. So basically the butt plug got propelled up his body at like 200 miles an hour. And he is now suing the MRI place for him being a fucking weirdo. But basically his arsehole and internal organs got absolutely... He survived. I mean, if it were me, I don't know if I would want to survive that. But yeah, that's another incident that happened. Basically, there are a lot of accidents around MRIs, and I think there should be some kind of universal checklist that everybody does, just so that you don't get sued into utter oblivion. And yeah, there are some things that people miss. There are metal fillings. Sometimes there can be pins that someone got in their leg, you know, for an ankle break as a child when they were 6, and they just forgot about them and everything, which is why there's a lot of checks that should be performed before anybody goes anywhere near these machines. And one thing that definitely anyone in the street that knows a single thing about MRIs could tell you is, no, you cannot go near the fucking machine with a £20 shipping chain around your fucking neck.